Hi there, this is Jill from WebGrrl Enterprises, and in this video I'm going to take you through some statistics of a recent project that I helped a client work through. In particular, I'm talking about a client who had an email list of over 1,500 people, and she was managing it using a spreadsheet, and she was copying and pasting addresses into the blind carbon copy portion of her email program, 50 addresses at a time, to send out her newsletters and to send out her notifications via email. 50 email addresses at a time, over 1,500 email addresses on this email list. You can hear right away how this was very tedious to go through. So what we did was set her up on the service Constant Contact, constantcontact.com. It's basically an email list market and email marketing service provider that really focuses on the whole thing around managing your email list, managing your newsletters that go out, your messages that go out, your timed messages that go out, a whole bunch of great stuff. So it really worked well for this client because it saved her a lot of time and gave her a way to create newsletters that were attractive, as opposed to just creating straight email through her email system. So anyway, taking a look at the stats here, what this particular client did was sign up for Constant Contact and put the form onto her website and start putting people into the system, but she didn't put the full list into the system until she'd done a couple of test mailouts to see what the results would be. So the first two messages that were sent out here, one on July 1st and one on September 19th, you can see that these had a lower number of opens compared to the most recent ones of November and December. And the reason for that is because it was a smaller list to begin with. Before the newsletter went out for November, she imported her entire list, and we went with the entire list from then. So we're just going to go through the November and December statistics, do a really quick look at them, and note some differences between them and see what we can notice about ways to get better engagement and more attention to your newsletter. So first of all, we can see right away that the newsletter in November got more opens than the newsletter in December, but we can't tell from here how many were actually mailed out and what percentage of openings this was. So let's go into it. At 1,698 messages were sent out. And if we look at the statistics, 91, which is 5.4%, bounced. We got 2 spam reports, and if you sign up with Constant Contact and you send messages through there, each message does have one of those little messages at the top that says you're getting this mail because you expressed an interest in our company. If you want to be removed from our list, click here and you can remove yourself. So this is a very important part of Constant Contact. It keeps you in compliance with the spam laws, so people can remove themselves from your list with no problem. So these people could have removed themselves and probably did remove themselves, but they did submit themselves as spam. Now, with 1,600, 1,700 messages going out and only 2 coming back as spam reports, it's not a big deal. So I'm not sure at what point it becomes a problem, but I would imagine that Constant Contact would get in contact with us first and let us know anyway, especially after a decent history, which we have. So 13 people, so 0.8% of the 1,700 people, opted out of the list and removed themselves. 35.7%, that's 573 people, opened the message. Now, of these 573 people who opened it, 9.4%, almost 10%, 54 people clicked through on some kind that was available here. And 2 people forwarded this message on to someone else to allow them to read it. Now, the click-throughs here are some of the interesting parts because, of course, in our newsletter, we try to put some things in there so that people will, first of all, be able to get connected with us on the various social media places, and also so that they'll check out some of the things on our website or some of the most recent things that we're talking about on our blog or something like that. So from the looks of it, we got a number of people came through to Facebook. Got 22 that came through to the blog, 11 that came through to a specific page on the Pine Sunset website, and then some general other things. And we have a couple of things there where it was shared a couple times on Facebook, and it shared on LinkedIn, and shared on something else. So that's kind of interesting. We have a few interactions. Now, it was also shared on social media networks. So it was shared on the clients and on some as well on mine. So now let's go back to the December newsletter. So here we are. December actually, if you remember, had less opens. So let's take a look at that. So 1,600 messages sent out. So it removed the ones that had bounced before. So we're getting a cleaner list now, especially since it was a recent import. We're going to have some of this happening for a little bit. So this time 1,600 messages went out, just over that. 2%, which is 33 of them, bounced. We got 4 spam reports. 23 people opted out. And 30.9%, 487 opened. So it is a slightly less percentage of people who opened, because the other one had like 37% of people who opened. But when we look at this next stat, this is really interesting, because in the last one we had just under 10% of these people who actually clicked through on a link. And this one is nearly double at 18%, almost 18%, 87 clicks. So less opens, more click-throughs. The other one had 54 and 1 forward. So when we go down here and we take a look at the things that they click through on, this is where it gets kind of quite interesting. In this particular newsletter, we put more focus on having 3 different blog posts that were added to the blog and were there to help augment the newsletter. 2 out of 3 of them got a fair number of unique click-throughs. So the first one is the cheap tickets to the L Canada show. The second one is the sports schedule, and then there was a third one there that isn't really showing up for some reason. But if I looked a little bit closer, I could possibly find it. Anyway, so it's very interesting that because we wrote a little bit about this stuff and then provided a link through to the blog to get more information, we actually got a fair amount more interaction. So that's really good to know. And you can see here that the total click-throughs is actually larger than the clicks there. That just means that people have gone back into their email and clicked through on some of the same links again. So they've gone back into the email to refer to it again, which is also a pretty good sign. So there we go. There we are. Some basic tour of Pine Sunset Lodge's use of constant contact for maintaining and contacting and keeping in touch with their client list and their prospect list and their contact list in general. My name is Jill Lampy and my business name is WebGrrl Enterprises. I'm a internet consultant and social media consultant who lives in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I do all of my work online, so I can work with anyone from around the world. I'm looking to work with people who are looking for coaching for doing social media. They're looking for somebody to help them out with their social media. They're looking for somebody to help them out get set up with things like YouTube and Facebook and Constant Contact and Twitter, and they're looking for somebody to turn to when they have technical problems with their site or questions or something like that. And if you have any needs for your business, your small business, I'd really love to hear from you, and I'd love to chat with you and give you a 30-minute free consult so we can see if my business is something that would be good to work with yours. And if not, you'll leave with some great information and places to go for the future. This is Jill from WebGrrl Enterprises. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.